and welcome back to another episode of the Blue is the New White podcast. We are back in action after a bit of a hiatus with an exceptional guest for you today. Someone who I've actually had the pleasure of knowing for a couple of years now. He is a prime example of what success looks like in the world of the skilled trades. Mr. Jason Latimer, Planned Maintenance Manager at Casper Services, joins us today to talk all about his journey through the trades. After starting in the hospitality industry, Jason needed a reset, so he received his GED at age 30 in 2010 and quickly enrolled in school to become a facilities maintenance engineer. He then quickly saw the value in HVAC and went to school for that as well. Before long, he was on his way to making more than he had made the year before, every single year thereafter. Tune in to hear Jason's story about how he harnessed his natural abilities and added mechanical ones to live his version of success, which is to provide service to those around him. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and on our website at bluesthenewwhite.com to receive all the latest updates. You can now find this podcast on iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, and Pandora. As always, we rely on word of mouth from our listeners to further the mission. So if you enjoyed this episode, please take a second to rate it, review it, and share it. The future generations of tradespeople depend on it. They depend on you. So thank you again and enjoy this episode of Blue is the New White with Jason Latimer. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Blue is the New White podcast. We are back after like a 2-month hiatus, something like that. I apologize to my listeners. I know you've been itching for a new episode, and I've got just the perfect person, just the perfect guest today to reintroduce the Blue is the New White podcast to the masses. Somebody that I've actually had the pleasure of knowing for what's it been, man? A couple of years now. We've been connected on
just a couple of years.
Yeah, on social media.
On LinkedIn, yeah.
And we just met in person for the first time, I think, earlier this year?
Yeah, February, NAFM, Orlando.
Yeah. So, no, testament to the power of social media and the day and age that we live in. So, super excited about this guest. Jason, man, welcome to the Blue is the New White podcast, sir.
Thank you for having me, Josh. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. I'm excited to get into it. So, for those who don't know who you are, would you mind just kind of giving us a background, telling us your story, how you got to where you are today, that kind of thing?
Sure. So let's go back to 2008, 2009. My wife and I, we were living in the Fort Myers area. It has a lot to do with hospitality and recreation. It's a vacation state. So, a lot of people like myself, we do hospitality. I worked in restaurants, hotels. I do hospitality, retail, customer service. So that's really my background. But in 2008, 2009, it was just getting really bad with businesses closing, hours being cut. I was just not in the best industry, although I love serving and working in hospitality. And what my wife and I decided, we needed a change. And she ended up joining the service, and we ended up moving out of state and moving to the other coast from Florida to Washington State, where she was stationed for 4 years. And we ended up looking into, pretty much what would be a good fit for me to reinvent myself. She said, "Hey, let's just get out of here and let's reinvent. You go ahead and reinvent yourself." And I went to the on base for the career services as a spouse, and they had us do something called jobs in demand search. So I recommend to a lot of people, if you go on Google and depending on in the area that you're in, you're in Phoenix, I'm in Florida. At the time I was in Washington State. If you go on Google and type in top 100 jobs in demand, whether it's the state you're in or the whole United States, it gives you a list of from 1 down to 100. So 1 would be the top job in demand. And that would, in that year, which was like 2011, 2010, it said that occupational therapist, I believe, was the top job. The second job was physician's assistant. The next job, I think, was computer engineer, and so on and so on. And what these do individually, when you look them up, it tells you what the cost of school is, how long school will take, whether it's a year or 2 or 4, or 8, the medium income when you get out, So I just went down that list and they said, hey, what do you want to do? So I went through that list and I got down to that year, and that area was, I think it was like number 34. And it was facility maintenance engineer or Class A building engineer. And it said you needed an associate's degree or a certificate. It was going to be a year to 2 years. The cost would be about 10 to 20,000, so it was around 15,000, and the medium income would be about $55,000 and up. So we did, when I was working in a hotel, one of the things that inspired me is I was working in a hotel was the last job I had before it just got so bad. And I remember as being a bar manager and a banquet hall manager that the maintenance techs would come in and they would fix anything. They'd fix the lights, they'd do cabinetry, they'd fix some of the cooking equipment, but they would never work on any of the refrigeration or AC. They would call a refrigeration or AC company. So I said, okay, I had 4 years. So I completed my 2-year degree. I have an associate's in facility maintenance engineering. And I was like, well, I got 2 years left before she gets out. So I decided since I noticed that little trend where the maintenance techs weren't qualified to do the cold side stuff like that. So I said, let me go for another degree in HVAC. And the colleges were all state colleges. And they took my prerequisites, like my public speaking, my math, and my social studies and everything. So I did another year of that. And then I got an additional degree. And then we left Washington State and I moved to Florida in 2014. It was Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. So I worked probably Valentine's Day, that's 6 weeks in, the 14th of February. So I only worked about 10 months and 2 weeks. And I made I actually pulled this up last night. I made $53,624. So what this is right here is if you go to Social Security or SSA.gov, you can make an account and it'll let you go back to as far back as since you first started to pay taxes. So I have a testimony here in numbers by year from the recession to when I got out of school to all the way to now. And so let's go back to that. So 2007, I made $32,000, right? And you don't mind if I share these numbers with you?
No, absolutely not. I think this is exciting.
Okay, so 2007, I was working 2 or 3 jobs to make $32,000. 2008, it started getting bad. I made only $23,000. 2009, I made $13,000, and I had several jobs. They were just shutting everything down during that recession. I lost all my dignity, brother. I didn't know how to come home and talk to my wife and my family. It's like, I can't hold a job because I'm doing what I love, which is hospitality, retail customer service. But when the chips are down, when there's a recession, there's a pandemic, people don't go out. They don't go out and eat. They don't go and stay at hotels. They don't, they want to stay home and they want to cook and things of that nature. So that year, 2010, I was on unemployment. I lost all dignity. I lost all hope. Literally on my Social Security for 2010, it says 0. I'm not proud of it. It's something, in my opinion, I had to go through. And I got a lot of faith. And I believe that if that recession didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So let's go into that. So 2011, I went to school for the 4 years. 2011, 2012, 2013, I went to school from 7:30 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I worked at Albertsons in the deli in Lakewood, Washington from 4 in the afternoon, an hour after school, till about 11 o'clock at night, full time, So the first year was half a year. And mind you, I left something out here. My apologies. I got my GED at 30 years old. That was 2000 that was also 2010 because I was born in 80. So I was going to school. I got my GED and I started going to college. And then after going into 2011, I started working at Albertsons and I made, that half year, I made $6,412. 2012, I made $13,000. Now, mind you, I'm going to school full time. I'm working and my wife's deployed. I have children. 2011, she deployed. 2013, $15,000. Then I came back to Florida and I worked, like I said, for 10 and a half months. And I started on February 14th of 2014. For that year, one job, $53,624. The next year, 2015, 62,149. The next year, 73,482. 2018, 83,000. 2019, 95,000. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Fantastic. Dude, Jason, so that paints an incredible picture. You know, not a lot of people come on the show with that type of timeline, you know. And I mean that I've got this whole thing written down, and it just speaks to the power of what you're saying, you know, right now, which is just amazing. And the fact that just 13 years ago, your income was zero.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. That's, you know, just to the point that, you know, I mean, you and I have had conversations about this, and, you know, you see like the social media buzzing about it, but this is the proof is in the pudding type of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. That's awesome. So, geez, you've completely derailed my questioning, man. It's a good thing. That is so cool. So you were in the facilities maintenance engineering. You saw that they would call in specialists, right, for the trades, the HVAC, refrigeration guys, and that's when you decided to get your HVAC certifications, right? And so what did you do with that information? I mean, you know, that was, let's call it 2014. You moved to Florida, right? One job, 10 and a half months, $53,000. What did you do to get your income to increase every year thereafter?
I applied my natural skills of hospitality, customer service, team culture, and just being who I am, you know, just treating people like people. And for myself, especially in working on cooking equipment, I've worked in all these restaurants because I love hospitality. But I also know that when you see a technician come in, you know, all you see is money leaving when you see a technician coming, and that's all that is until you know, from the technician side, I know because I've been in their shoes what it feels like to work over half working equipment, to work in a kitchen with no AC, you know, to deal with, you know, very upset customers because, you know, somebody can't get the experience of getting the food that's why they're there, and it's their favorite dish, and this is their favorite place, you know. So I understood that when I walk into a restaurant, how a lot of the staff looks at someone like myself because I'm there, and they, you know, obviously we get paid a lot of money, you know, to go in there and spend time and diagnose and hopefully get it right the first time. But because I knew that, I go in and I would introduce myself and let them know that I know they're human first and foremost, you know, and say, hey, you know, my name is Jason with Casper Service Company. What's your name? I'm here to look up. Thanks. I'm introducing myself. I'm saying I'm here to work on this piece of equipment. Is there anything else you need me to know? It's just customer service and creating a relationship, you know. And then when you're done, you show them what you did, and then, hey, you know, what's your favorite dish here? Start a conversation with them. Get to know them. So write their name down. Come back when you see them next time. You know, call them by name. You know, I'm all about relationships. So me going into this, it felt natural because I thought that I was going to be in a high rise as a stationary engineer somewhere working on boilers. And the next thing I know, I'm a maintenance tech for Steak and Shake, which is, you know, before their maintenance department went defunct. And, you know, it's like, okay, you know, I didn't think I'd be here, but you know what? I'm somewhere that I recognize. I'm somewhere where I'm comfortable, you know. And, you know, I try to teach I have several employees in the client maintenance department of my company. And I try to teach them, you know, those soft skills about customer service and team culture and whatnot, and good character. And I think that's everything. At the end of the day, if you have a relationship with someone, they're going to lean on you and they're going to trust you to take care of them over somebody else who doesn't want to talk to them. And that was one of the things my instructor told me for my facilities. He's like, you are really good with people. You like talking to people. You like to find out what their deal is, and you want to share, and you want to relate. And he's like, there's two techs I've seen come through here. It's the ones that are good with people, good customer service, and ones who just are technical and they want to keep their heads down. They want to, they slide in, slide out, leaving the staff and management to wonder, what was done. Did they do what they said they did, and whatnot. And, you could have the best trained, sharpest technician in there, but if they can't talk to the customer, if they can't communicate and articulate, they're not going to be trusted. The people are going to make up they're going to have their own narrative and perception in their mind of what's going on. Because at the end of the day, if I don't know you, I don't know your name, I don't know what you're doing. One thing I do know is that you're costing me money if you're in my store.
You gravitate back to what you do know. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. It's the common denominator. At the very least, I know you're costing me money. So I don't like you. I just want you to hurry up, get it fixed and get out of here. But if you take the time to get to know people and foster a relationship, you will go very far. And I've been recognized for my customer service. I've been recognized for my numbers, and whatnot, and just being a great technician.
Yeah,
being a preferred technician.
I've got a couple questions for you. So
sure.
To provide some clarity, what is the position that you hold now at Casper's?
Plan maintenance manager.
Plan maintenance manager. Okay. And how long have you been in that role?
January.
Oh wow, just this January.
Yeah. I got the position, I think November, and being a service tech who does as a unicorn, it does hot side, cold side, beverage, electrical. They're like, yeah, you got to give some time. So it was like 60, 90 days. And then I started transitioning into the position. It's hard to replace somebody who does everything.
Of course. So you were a technician through and through, and then you mm-hmm. made this transition into management just in January.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Well, congratulations, number one.
Thank you very much.
So I have a question, because I too am a people person, and as you probably could tell, but I struggle sometimes, right? Because I've been told that I put a lot of faith in people, and sometimes I've been told sometimes I put too much faith in people, which whatever that means to you or the audience listening, whatever that means to them, I'll let them decide. But I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and as a business owner, sometimes that can come back and bite me, right? Because we have to make hard decisions sometimes. So my question for you is, you talked about good character. You talk about showing people what good character looks like, which I think is vitally important in success of any kind, whether it's in this industry or any other industry. And you're a prime example of that with how you climbed the ranks and how you moved forward. So can you teach good character? And if you can, what does that look like? How do you get through to somebody? So two-part question.
Sure. So good character to me is, aside from maybe, someone taking corners, it's just being honest with yourself, being honest with your teammates, being honest with the customer. Because the cost of lying or stealing, it's something that's not worth it. You're not going to come back from very easily. So when I say, hey, did you check this belt because it was frozen over, and someone came in and said, hey, the belt was just off, I'm going to give you an opportunity. I already know what the answer is, but there's some that just say, yeah, that was me. I'm sorry, I didn't look. And then there's others just like, yeah, I did. I checked it. And it's like, most of the time people are asking you questions because they already know the answer and they just want to see what you're going to say. So when it comes to teaching character, it's hard to teach it. All you can say is, listen, we just need to know what's going on. Just tell us what happened, and whether they lied or not, that's a mental note, and then the next time, in a similar situation, mental note. 3 strikes in the red, and that's not good, but 3 strikes in the right, and you're very favored and respected, and you're going to be trusted more. So it is, when I say teach good character, because I'm always saying, hey guys, I'm not speaking to anyone individually, but if you see something, say something, just put it out there, And, and that's where it comes to teaching character, because if somebody, some people have different backgrounds, and I've worked with a spectrum of people, whether they've been sheltered, homeschooled, and, they're, very Leave It to Beaver, and, and then there's other people who've lived a very rough life and they've been through things, and you just got to let them know that that just you can trust me to tell me what's going on. And, you got to give people that, you got to kind of put an olive branch out. For some people are defensive because they've been through some shit,
You're right.
And we just can't assume that, they're quick to being defensive because they have bad character. Some people have grown up with some of the worst consequences for some of the smallest transgressions. And you just have to understand that people comes from different walks of life. And that's why, you take the mental notes. I'm not going to, if I think you weren't telling the truth, I'll take a mental note. I'm not going to come down on you like that. I'm just going to say, well, it doesn't look like you're saying is what's accurate, but we need to do better next time. So how do you feel we can go about this better next time? And, tell me what you're going to do differently next time. Oh, I'm going to verify that, I'm going to make sure every compartment's open. I'm going to verify, take photos. And normally that doesn't happen again,
Yeah.
But, but if it continues, you try to help people as much as you can. And like you said, you invest in people and you trust in people. And it's almost like purchasing a new piece of equipment. You don't know how it's going to, purchasing something new, a new program for dispatching, a new computerized maintenance management system. I'm going to try this new piece of equipment because it's supposed to cut down and things. You're taking a risk, you're making an investment, and you're not always going to win. And sometimes you just got to know when to just say, all right, well, I've gone far enough down this road. I don't want to go down this road anymore. You're going to have to either stop using that piece of equipment, let that employee go, pivot, go another direction, and consider it a lesson to learn.
Yeah, no, and that I think that's a really good approach. I can see why they wanted you in management. No, it's a really good approach because, especially when you said, tell me what you're going to do different next time, because we have a lot of people that listen and watch this show, both from business owners and managers, and also people considering or early on into their trade career, right? So this little thing, what you said right here, tell me what you're going to do different. I want people to understand the power of that statement, right? Because you're absolutely right. You can't come down on somebody when you think they're lying necessarily, because it's going to, number one, put them on the defense. It's going to, number two, in my experience, it makes them dig their heels in even further, right? And so it really makes the situation wrong and uncomfortable half the time.
Yeah.
But if you set a new expectation, which is exactly how you frame this, right? You set a new expectation, then you have something to hold them to the next time that it happens. Well, you told me that you were going to do this, right? And even the way that you phrased it, tell me what you're going to do different. Tell me what happened, right? Leaving it open-ended, not leading them into a specific answer, not even a yes or no question. Yes, yes, no, no. It's tell me how you're going to handle this situation the next time, right? And let me correct and critique that answer. Yeah. And then the next time they do it, they're the ones having told you what they were going to do. So it's easier for you to hold them accountable, right? And it's easier for them than to receive that information. So
you're absolutely right.
I want people to understand the power of that, what you just said.
Thank you. So I'll add to that. I don't believe in gotcha situations. I only believe in learning situations. I hate gotcha situations. I got you. I'm like, all right, well, there's nothing to learn here other than you just made someone feel horrible. So you just got to treat people with dignity and respect, and you want to guard yourself, because at the end of the day, it's the reputation of the namesake on the side of the building, and whatnot. But you can only take that so far. But when it comes to character, if it's going to hurt the reputation of the company, that's where you got to be like, I'm really working with you here, and I'm trying to give you all the opportunity. I'm trying to show you that, that you can trust me, you can come to me, and I'm here for you if you need something. But we all have to be at this. We have to be like-minded when it comes to character and team culture. So
Absolutely. So tell me, and without divulging too much information, I guess, but your plan maintenance department, is this an entry level type of department? So newer people in the industry start off in PMs and then they work their way to tech, or is it structured a little bit differently than that?
no, that's exactly how it is. So we have our contracts for plan maintenance for our customers. Changing belts, cleaning coils, and all that stuff. So I look at it at how I'm the first one to apply for this position. So I created kind of like a little business plan on how I was going to go about. And my big thing was using the plant maintenance department as a controlled environment to onboard technicians out of college, whether they're young or older or whatever the situation, and getting them into the department and spending about 6 months to a year. And so pretty much you have the planned maintenance. I set it up where Monday through Thursday, they have planned maintenance. On Friday, especially because of our on-call, for our on-call, Friday is a training day. It's a field trip day. I go to the service department. I say, hey, give me several calls. I look at the hours of the technicians, see how many hours they have after their 4 days, Monday through Thursday work, and say, hey, you're at 32 hours, you're at 35, you're at 36. I have several calls. Do you want to take a 3-day weekend, or do you want to come out and let's go and do some training? It'll be a controlled environment, but we take everything. I don't say no to nothing, whether it's hot side, cold side. But I use my department. I designed the program to get people in, have them learn the sequence of operations and how the equipment works that they're doing preventative maintenance on and maintaining, and then taking time to individually and in a group to train them the proper procedures and things like that, and how to diagnose and understand the sequence of operations. Hey, let's go downstairs. Let's talk to the customer, follow my lead and how I'm going to talk to this customer, and we're going to answer any questions they have. And then about 6 months to a year, if they have desire to leave this department, and no one has to leave, if they want to go into install, if they want to go into design, if they want to go into the training department, if they want to go into hot side, cold side, or they want to be a unicorn like me, we write that stuff down and I say, okay, let's talk about our goals. I'm going to tell you what you need. Where you're 3 months in, 6 months in, 9 months in, I'm going to tell you from here to here what you need to accomplish and what my expectations are of you. We'll sign a contract, you and I, and you can hold me to expectations that I'm going to help you, as long as we're both meeting, our goals and whatnot, that we're going to help each other get where we need to get. And I make that agreement with everybody, say, hey, where do you want to be? Some people are like, hey, I just want to be in the PM department. They like the planned maintenance part of knowing that they only have like an 8-hour day. They're not on call. Right. They're not after hours. They're not working the weekend. And then other people, they're like, they're younger. Some younger guys are like, I need that money, so they're like, hey, I want to go into the service department. Some people are like, I just want to do cold side. I want to do hot side. Yeah. I want to do, we have a beverage team. We do beverage systems, automatic beverage systems for McDonald's and all that stuff, run Pythons and things like that. Beverage chill towers.
Sure.
Can't remember the name of that.
So they have
brand,
they have like an open trajectory where they can go in a million different directions from that department.
Pretty much, and we have a training department, Casper's University, and Samantha. What it's called? Forgive me. Career planning trajectory. Together in 3-level, lead tech level, assistant manager, management, and we do career path, make a career path. And I use that template to say, hey, where do you want to go? Well, these are the markers you need to meet, and I'm going to help you get there every step of the way.
Wow, that's fantastic. So are you almost like, so does your reach extend then a little bit past the planned maintenance department? Are you able to coach them and see them through to these other departments? Are you like kind of like a mentor type of role?
Absolutely. So yes, a lot of mentorship, because I've learned now because I was in management in the hospitality, and it's a different beast,
Yeah.
because and when I was younger and I was a restaurant manager, hotel manager, kind of young, kind of having fun with everybody, you're everyone's friend. And here it's a lot more serious. I found that, you really have to understand, when we're all in our 20s, we all got the same problems: girlfriend, boyfriend, partying, hungover. But when you're in the 40s like me and you have people your age, it's kids need help. Kids are in trouble. Financial issues, health issues, spouse issues, and it's such a responsibility. And you can only mentor people so much. But yeah, you do coaching, you mentor, and I have a relationship with the other managers, and we talk about the department's needs, and if there's somewhere for this, and if some of the characteristics and personality of this potential technician is great for what department, and we look at different departments, and we give that information to the technician, like, well, this department, you'll be on call, every once in a while. This department, there is no on call, but if you're on the install team, you might be going out of town and working overnight when a restaurant needs to be closed or a hotel needs to be closed. So we just talk about expectations and whatnot. We just put it all out there. There's no, I didn't know, because a lot of stuff we put in writing, like, hey, what do you want to do? And we can come back and we can revisit this document and our agreement we made.
Wow, that's amazing. So that puts you in a really great position to help a lot of the people that that we talk to, in our circles, right? And let's call it the workforce of tomorrow, right? And so you're kind of you put yourself front and center to developing that workforce of tomorrow, which I think is incredible, by the way. So what are you seeing? I've got a couple of questions surrounding this. So first and foremost, where are you seeing the most influx of this workforce? Is it from high schools? Is it from trade schools? Is it just walking in off the street? Is it career changes later in life? Where do you see most of these entry-level positions come from?
People kind of like just, have the similar background to doing what they like to do, but it just doesn't bring home ends meet. You have to, myself, I had to have 2-3 jobs just to name off some of those numbers, 30,000, 23,000. And I had 2 or 3 jobs, not home for homework for the kids and things like that. But I see a lot of people in this, just going back to when I was in technical college, there was a kid in my college that was 17 years old, still in high school, getting his associates with me. And then after I graduated, he followed me over and got his HVAC with me. I was mentoring him and pulling him along. And then at the same time, there was 40-something-year-olds, people who went into the military at 17, put their 20 years in, and now they wanted to do something different. They're out. So we have a whole myriad of different backgrounds and reasons why people are here. There's too different to name, but yeah, you get people in for a lot of different. Some people just want to change in scenery and they want to do something different, and other people just want more money.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, they all just wanted to do something different reasons. But yeah, it's definitely the workforce of tomorrow.
That's great. And you know what? That's a really good answer, because it kind of just goes to show, that these industries can really appeal to just about anyone, and to your point, like I've got guys that started in the PM department on my team that have worked their way up to service technician who spent, 10, 15 years at the post office, as a mail carrier. I mean, you don't know where these people are going to come from. And it's just amazing to see those who truly value what it is that they learn as they learn it. And so that kind of leads into my next question, which is, of the people that come in, who are the ones, what traits do the ones who succeed exhibit most? And the ones that really keep making it to the next level and the next level and the next level, like you do, aside from the relationship aspect, right, and the soft skills, because that's something that you continually learn along the way. But what characteristics do they have? Have you noticed any similarities there?
Yeah, I would say some of the best technicians, some of the best employees I've seen have something in common. They all have good work ethic. They take pride in the work they do. They take it personally when they have a callback. They take time on their own to go back through the calls and look through the history. That's something I do. Like before I go on a call, I start looking through the history. I want to know who worked on it, who touched it, what's going on, what are the results of the work. And there's technicians who are self-starters who don't need to be told a lot of that stuff. Just tell me what to do. Tell me how to drive this car, and then they're off. And it has a lot to do with good work ethic. If they dig into what they're doing, if they're inquisitive, they're always asking more questions. They want to know how they did. They're like, well, how did I do? All right, did I make a mistake? All right, what did I do? They want to learn from it. There's a general curiosity. And I like to think there's three types of people. Well, I know there's three types of people, and my mentors told me this. There's jobbists, there's careerists, and there's professionals. Jobbists do their job, and when they clock out, they go home. They don't want to think twice about it, and we need them. So I don't want anyone to think that's being disparaging or anything. There's careers. There are people who will do anything to further their career, no matter what it takes, what are the sacrifices. And there's professionals. And I'd like to think I'm a professional. I'd like to invest in my own time and talking to people like yourself, trying to contribute to the industry. I went and got an additional credential from the University of Washington, and I got a certificate in facilities management because I love this industry. I love everything about it. I'm curious, and we need all these people. And there's nothing wrong with somebody who wants to just clock in, clock out, and go home. If they're thorough and whatnot, it's kind of hard to see. But the professionals is what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. The people who take a lot of pride in their work. And when I say that's what I'm looking for, that's what I'm expecting to rise up the ranks and go somewhere. And again, at the end of the day, there's a place for everyone. We need them all. Yeah. Whether you want to stay, there's some service techs I know that have been service techs for 30, 40 years. They do not want to be in management. They don't want the hassle. They don't want the responsibility. They like what they do. And that's okay. Yeah. I can't relate to that. I'm too, I can't relate to that aspect. It's just like, it's not more of a what's next. It's more of a what else can I pile on this burger in my plate,
We're cut from the same cloth, my friend. I definitely understand that thought process. But to your point, you're absolutely right. And that kind of goes back to people defining success in their own way, right? Because there are some people who would rather, as long as, like to your point, as long as they do a good job, right? Who cares if they clock out and go home and that's all they want to do? If they're doing a good job for you and that's what they're there for, then fine. That's them, and that's fantastic. And we need those people, frankly, just, and the same that we need careerists and professionalists, and so, there's nothing wrong with that, but there is a stigma attached to that thought process, right? At least from small business owners, especially, right? That because they don't relate to that mindset, they think there's something wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm kind of generalizing, and some people, I've known some like, hey, if they're scheduled till 4:00 and they clock out at 4:00, they're the first ones with their hands up saying, well, what the hell, man? Why are they clocking out? Why are they ringing the bell and going home? Well, you know what? I mean, some people, that's just what they value is not being at work, and I can't hold it against them. So, no. Otherwise they'd be the one owning the business.
Sure. You need everyone, and it is hard for people to empathize, I think. And if you have good emotional intelligence and you understand that not everyone's like you, our president Danielle provided us with an emotional intelligence class recently, and this isn't too far off from here because somebody clocks out, and then somebody who wants to always be there is going to look at that person. So in this emotional intelligence class, we talked about fight or flight arguments and things of that nature, where some people want, if you get in an argument and you're flustered, some people want to just, hey, I need a breather, I need to walk away. But then there's other people who aren't necessarily want to be confrontational, but they do want to come up with a solution now.
Yeah.
So when one person's I need a solution now, let's talk about this, and they see another person walk away, the person who wants to talk now will be quickly under the impression that the person who walks away doesn't care, and that's not the case. You just don't understand that they're just different, and they process and they behave, and their character's different. It's not bad or good. It's just you have to understand that we need both, and that you have to be empathetic and have good emotional intelligence, whether it's how people are reacting and confrontation and emotional situations to people's work ethic and whatnot, and their lifestyle and what's important to them.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself. You're absolutely right. And in that situation, it's funny too, because the example that you gave, I think a lot of people can reflect back, especially if they're married, right?
19 years this July.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations, man. I've got, let's see, I'm 10 years last year. So this is my 11th, but,
nice.
But yeah, you know what? Thank you. Yeah, it's but I think that helps people understand, because you can translate that to a business setting, right? Emotional intelligence is very important, especially in this day and age, man. I mean, and the workforce of tomorrow, right? You don't have to agree with them, but you should understand them,
Sure.
And
yeah.
Great. So just a couple more questions for you, man. I can't believe it's been almost an hour already, but you still got a couple minutes. We good?
Oh yeah, we're great, man. I get that.
All right.
I'm all yours, Josh. Been looking forward to this.
All right, cool, man. All right. So my next question is, with regard to this industry, why do you think, now that you've been through it, right? You painted this awesome picture of your success over the years. You're in this position now where you're dealing with people entering into the industry through the PM or plant maintenance department, right? Why do you think this career path isn't more desired by just the masses?
Yeah, I think it goes back to a lot what Mike Rowe says about shop class being taken away and things of that nature. My father is a master cabinet maker. He's 80 years old. So I had an example, not everyone does. It's society, kind of looking down on the blue collar, and it's kind of if you don't get your act together, you don't go to college, you don't get a 4-year, you're going to be, working in, you're going to be doing some sort of labor intensive job, construction, garbage work, electrical, things like that. And people didn't, it just wasn't explained to us that this is a lifestyle and quality of life change without all the financial baggage and headache. You can make more of yourself. I mean, the corporate ladder only goes so high in a high rise, literally, just to the top floor, and then you can try to helicopter to another building. But everything in that building is set, the structure is already set for that business for the most part, unless you're some internet guru in the millennia. But, it has a lot to do with the stigma of you could be in AC all day, or you're going to be outside digging ditches, and it's a sad thing, and the country is in trouble for it now. Our country is in trouble for it. And people are talking about jobs that are being outsourced overseas, and now people are complaining about AI. And I'll take it a next step. If we don't have enough people to do the jobs here in the United States, instead of outsourcing jobs, we're going to be importing jobs. We're going to be importing people. And it's coming if we don't invest in marketing what's sexy about this industry. And this industry, in my opinion, is very sexy, and that's why I do what I do. Because I want to show people that you can have a great quality of life, make a killing, and have all the toys you want, feed your family, and do what you want. You can do it for someone else, or you can do it for yourself. And at the end of the day, this last part, if I was doing this back in 2008, 2009, I would have been just fine. I wouldn't have met the cool people and gone through what I'd gone through. I believe that it happened for a reason, so I made the most out of it. But, I think that anybody who wakes up to this industry these days, do your kids a favor. I'm pushing I have all daughters. I have 4 daughters. I'm pushing them like, hey, I know you all want to be a veterinarian and have a pony, but look into some of these things. Some of the coolest females I know are in the trades.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a little bit of a stigma, but with people like ourselves who are passionate and really love this industry and the future of our country and the infrastructure, and the things we have, and we're going to continue to champion these things, and we're going to do our best. And we got a long ways to go because we really need the help of mouthpieces and celebrities like Mike Rowe and yourself and whatnot to get the word out there, my friend. So yeah, that's where my take is on it.
No, I think that's a really great take, and it's true. And I have 2 daughters, by the way. I'm not going to shoot for 4, man. Bless you, man. No, that sounds fun. But you're right. It's going to take an army, right, of people like us, people in the industry, business owners. I mean, it's a complete mindset shift, and it's going to take more than just a generation to undo what's been done with the perceptions and the stigmas that revolve around these industries. I think we're on our way, and sometimes I can't tell if that's just because of the circles that I run in or if things are actually starting to get better. Cause with social media, it shows you what you want to see and, stuff like that. So it can be hard to decipher that, but I do feel like we're making a lot of headway, in this industry. There I go, being super optimistic again. But, I think that there's a lot to be said about that. So well said. So that's a good transition into what's next for you, right? What's next for Jason as far as maybe in your career or what you want to do to help uplift the industry? What does tomorrow look like?
Sure. So what I recommend to everyone is that you create a career path, right? The goal at the end should stay the same or similar unless you change your mind. And the path there is going to go up and down, left and right and whatnot. So when I was in college, when I decided that I was finishing up my first degree and I was going into HVAC, I created a 20-year plan. So my 20-year plan was to do 4 years of technical college, which I did, several years as a service technician, another few years as an entry-level management, and then hopefully another few years going into upper management. So I'm 4 years college. I did about 7-8 years as a tech, and now I'm going into the entry level. So I'd like to do this for another 3, 4, 5 years, and then I'd like to go maybe from a manager, maybe into a director, VP position. And then once I hit that 20-year mark, I'm going to reevaluate where I am, and then I'm either going to do another 5, 10 years in that position, in that administrative position. But my end goal is to end up at a technical college. Why? Because I want to show the students that they're in the right seats, they're in the right place, and that I have a successful career testimony from school to entry to mid to high, and then full circle back to where I was to give back to where I started. And the one thing I noticed when I was in technical college, and there's nothing wrong with this, a lot of my instructors, because I had several, didn't go to school or didn't have a career in what they were teaching. So I had like an instructor that was teaching, I think, the refrigeration side, who was an aviation instructor. So I had another instructor who was in math, and now he's teaching hot side. A lot of the guys are reading, the teacher's manuals, and they're learning with us, right? Sure. So, they're learning with us, and I get that. But I always was like, you didn't do this, So I was just like, you know what? And that's where, after I was done with my first college and going to the second, and I started seeing this, I'm like, you know what? I want to come back here, but I want to start here, and I want to go through the whole process. And then 20, 25, 30 years, I want to come right back here, and I want to show them these numbers of what I went through and what I call a career testimonial, that I started from the bottom. That I started somewhere where we all need to start, and that if you stick with it, and if you have good mentorship and a good attitude and a good character, that you're going to make it through. You just got to connect with people and levitate to people who are about their business. I love hanging around other professionalists because they feed into me, and I want to feed back into them, and I want to grow. And then I try to put that influence on the jobist and the careerist, but that's my goal, is to end up where I started. And by then, the money won't be a thing. It's, cause I know teachers don't make a lot, but they're there. I'd like to think they're there just for like where I'm here now. It's not really about the money. It's because I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm giving back. I love the contribution to the future of our country and our families. And so that's where I'm going to be. That's so no matter how the path takes me, my end goal is to end back at a technical college here or somewhere else, whether it's in facilities. I really like facilities. I mean, that's my jam.
Yeah.
I mean, would I want to teach HVAC? Probably not. I love walking into any kind of facility and them saying, and they say, hey, AC's down, grill's down, frappe machine is down, the lights aren't working in the lobby. And I'm just like, got you. I can do all those things.
Nice.
And I really love facility maintenance. It's really in my heart. It's in my soul. It's in my blood. So that's where I want to be. That's my goal. How I get there, I don't know. As long as I have, as long as I have my three pillars or my ground level, of reasons why I want to stay somewhere, I'm good. I'm good. So
yeah, no, that's a great answer, and it kind of leads right into, probably answers a little bit of my last question here. And if you've watched the show or listened to the show, you know what I'm going to ask you. So I like to talk about success a lot and how it means different things to different people, right? And you just laid out for me your goal, so I can kind of have an idea of how you might describe success, but I'd like to hear it in your own words. Jason, how do you define success? Not just professionally, right? But just in an overarching, way. If you were to lay on your deathbed, right? 50, 60 years from now, let's call it, right? What would make you look up and say, man, I was a success?
It's a hard question. Is that easy? Service. That's my answer.
Service.
That I live my life in service to my family, first and foremost, my faith, and my community. That's how I get up every day, and I put in an honest day's work, and I stay late, and I stay curious, I stay hungry. It's because it's all in the name of service. If there's too many people that don't want to serve others, they just want to serve themselves. And when you're serving yourself, you're not feeding the cause, the narrative, the people around you. It's about just laying it all out there, man, and wanting to know what other people need and how you can help them. Because I'm self-satisfied with my life. I'm very satisfied with my life and whatnot. I've had ups and downs and things like that. But at the end of the day, the only word that pops into mind about what drives me, and when I'm on my deathbed and I'm going to look back, I'm going to just say service. I served people, and I bettered people. I've contributed to people. And, that service comes in a form of how you make people feel. You provide something to someone, you bring people comfort. You're able to make sure they're able to eat. You make sure they're able to be comfortable in their homes. You're able to be relied on. That's what service is all about. And if I can live a life of service, I'm okay with that.
I love that answer. I love that answer a lot. I'm going to steal Nick Cribb's line here when I say the only way to keep what you have is to give it away. And
yes,
I love that answer. I think that's phenomenal. Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you?
So I have a website being built. It's not ready yet. And eventually that'll be jasonlatimer.tech. Hopefully it'll be up in a few weeks here, jasonlatimer.tech. But you can always find me on LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok, and it's JasonLatimer_facilities.
Awesome. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. What great insight you have, and I think my listeners are going to get a lot of value from this episode. I know I did. Listen, look at dude. I got 2 pages of notes here.
Awesome. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, likewise, man. And I'm sure that it won't be long. We'll run into each other one of these days at another industry event, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jason, for coming on the show. And until next time.